Hey, it's me, that guy you're not subscribed to yet. It's cool though. I know we'll get there. Just give me some time. So I'd like to welcome you to Fixing Fandom. Thanks for tubing in today. I've got a special Hot Toy review for you today. We're going to be taking a look at a figure that I'm really excited to get opened up and get out of its box. It's the first villain figure I've had for the MCU up to this point. So far, I've just been collecting the heroes mainly from across the various movies. I've gotten Captain America figures, I've gotten Black Widow figures, I have a Hulk figure, a lot of the OG Avengers I've got so far. I don't have a Iron Man. I do have Thor, I've got Black Widow, I've got Hawkeye, I've got a Cap, so I've got almost in Hulk, so I've got almost all six of the original Avengers. I do have an Iron Man coming, hopefully he'll show up this week. Not all six from the original movie necessarily, but various incarnations of them throughout the series. This is the first real villain I've had. I do have Winter Soldier from Captain America, Winter Soldier. So I guess Bucky from that movie technically counts as a villain. He might be my first, but this is the first villain outside of that I've gotten, and it's a big one. So let me grab the box real quick before I do the unboxing because I just wanted to show everybody the box, the shipper that it comes in from Sideshow first. So let me grab that. All right, and here we go. So this is the box it came in. And I've never gotten a figure in a box like in a shipper like this, I should say. I have gotten figures in large size boxes before, but never one in a shipper quite like this. This shipper actually has a handle on top. And I don't know about you, but I think that's got to mean it's pretty good. It's got to be pretty impressive if it is so big and so heavy that they need to actually give you a handle to carry the box with. So I'm excited about it for that. It is, I'm not sure if anybody has picked it up yet so far, but it is the Avengers Thanos Endgame figure. So I'm going to take it over to the table and we'll get the box opened up and get the figure taken out. Anybody that has this figure, I'd love to know what you think about it. Leave a comment down below and let us know what you think. If you'd like to get this figure, if you're thinking about picking it up, let me know that as well. I'm just curious how many people out there have it. I know a lot of people picked up the Infinity War Thanos, and a lot of people are waiting on the battle damage Thanos that's coming. This is the first release from Endgame, so this is the clean armor, not the battle damage one. But I think they were offering like free shipping on it or something. I just felt like it was a pretty good deal from Sideshow, so I went ahead and picked this up. I think I had some reward points too, so I threw those on it to make it a little more affordable. But I'm excited to get it out. Like I said, it's kind of my first villain. It's definitely the biggest villain of the Infinity Saga, the main villain of the Infinity Saga, as it were. And so I think he'll look really impressive, especially in the case with all the Avengers kind of either teaming up against him or just standing there by himself looking kind of badass as he was. So let's get him out. All right, and we're back. So we're going to go ahead and get it out of its shipper box here first. Unlike some of the other unlike all of the other Hot Toys, this one actually opens on the side instead of the tops and bottoms. So I'm going to get the sides hopefully opened up here. I really don't want to, I know people say the shippers don't really matter, and they don't, but it's part of the figure when you get it from Sideshow, so I tend to try and keep them in good shape. This one actually has a little puncture wound on it from the shipping process, so it's a good thing they come in shippers. And I lost part of my setup here, so let me try and get that straightened out there. So here we go. And there you go. Right away you can see the Thanos hourglass. Oh look, Thanos's emblem is the Infinity Gauntlet. That's awesome. And then you've got the Avengers A there. So very cool. I like that little touch of his emblem being the Infinity Gauntlet. Of course, it's completely correct that he would get that as his symbol. And we're going to set that set over there. Here's his bag. There he is. So let's get him out of the bag here. We'll have to I should probably just cut this. Usually I try and peel the tape back, but Really don't want to mess with that tonight. So let's just see if we can get, without cutting the box, there we go. Piece of plastic. We've got some other debris that came out of the box there. There's the top of the box, the Avengers Endgame logo. So it doesn't look like they've done anything too different as far as the packaging compared to the other Endgame figures. You've got the hourglass design there with the character emblem and the Avengers A. You've got Marvel Avengers Endgame on the top, and then the same hourglass on the other side. You've got a shot of the figure on the front of the box with the name here on the box. Is so big I can't fit the whole thing on the screen, but you've got the character name down there at the bottom, MMS. This is 529, and then the bottom and the top are both, oh no, there's the top. I actually had shown you the bottom before. There's the top. You've got the character name on the top, and then on the back you've got just your standard Hot Toys character information or company information on the back there. So it looks like the other ones, this has a slip cover. Yep, that comes off. Get that moved out of the way. And there's his plastic shell that he's in. So the back of this box has the stylized Avengers A that's kind of, I don't know if that's fading out or fading back in. I guess it might be fading back in considering what happened in the movie. But he looks good. He looks huge. I'm really excited to get him out. I'm really curious how he's going to compare in size to the Hulk figure. I'm not sure that I've gotten my Hulk video and unboxing up yet, but I do have the Avengers from the first movie, Hulk, with Bruce Banner set. And so I'm very curious to see how Thanos compares, because in the movie they ended up being very similar in size. So I'm curious to see if that translates over to the Hot Toy figures as well. We'll slide him out of his box here. And there we go. So we've got his sword blade that he uses. He's got batteries. I'm curious what light... Oh, the light up function must be for the Infinity Gauntlets. Duh. Alright, let's get this off. The sword actually comes in its own tray that sits on top here, so... This is probably not technically a sword. This is probably has a double-bladed weapon like this. Probably has a different name. Let's see if I can get some shots of it there in the light. There you go. Very cool. Very nice. Very good paint job as always with Sideshow. I don't know if you can tell. It's got some weathering, some spotting there. You can imagine that that's dried blood from victims that have fallen on his sword in battle, or just because it was their time. You've got some different colorations there. You've got a solid black plastic piece that goes over the top of each side, the opposite where the actual blade is. So that's a nice little touch, just gives it a different look. He's got a very beefy handle there, so his hands are going to be really good inside. You can actually see, I don't know if it'll show up, but you can actually see on the sword where it's seamed together. It's like they make, I'm sure this is what they did, they made two identical pieces and then they seamed them together. It's hardly noticeable, and of course you wouldn't notice it when it's in his hand, but you do see the seam there a little bit. So I wonder if they were ever meant to come apart and be two separate pieces. I wonder if that was something maybe they had toyed with doing in the in-game movie itself or not. So that's a very cool piece. I like that a lot. To be fair, there's probably not much about this set I'm not going to like. So with Hot Toys track record and as much as I enjoyed Endgame and the character of Thanos, probably not much I'm not going to like. So there he is. As far as accessories go, he's got his blade, he's got the Infinity Gauntlets, he's got, let's see, the 2 hands that are on him, then 3, well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of hands, and then, of course, the gauntlets. He's got his helmet and a different head sculpt, but it looks like that's about all that he comes with. Alright, let's see what to start with. Let's just start with the figure himself. Let's get him out of here and get our first look at what he looks like. I mentioned this in my Hulk review as well. These figures, they've got the styrofoam insert here that's when you set them against the plastic. That insert is kind of important. The Hulk figure, the plastic insert that he was sitting in, actually some of it adhered to the figure. I was able to clean it up and get it off, but it actually was adhered to the figure a little bit. So I'm going to get the tray scooted over to the side here. Alright, and there he is. So we've got a plastic piece there. You've got tissue paper here on his biceps here, and then on the ankle joints. So I'm sure that's all to keep these pieces from rubbing too much and leaving marks on the figure while it's in the box. I'm hoping that removing those over time when it's sitting on the shelf, that won't work out to where the rubber transfers over to the body, that's just a part of the shipping process to keep the figure in good condition. But off the bat, I'll say, he's a very impressive figure. It's a huge figure. Let's see if I can get the whole thing in frame. If I set him completely down, I can get the whole figure in frame. He's got a good weight to him. He feels evenly distributed. I don't feel like he's going to fall over real easily. I was going to try and grab Hulk while I've got him out and see if I can compare the two right off the bat. All right, I'll tell you right now that Hulk is a heavier figure. The Avengers Hulk is a much heavier figure than Thanos, and he's got some more size on him too. So let's see if that's right about, their heads are right about the same distance apart there, and you'll see Hulk is a good, I don't know, 4 inches, 3 inches longer than Thanos. So still an impressive figure. I guess Hulk was a little bit more of a larger figure character in the movie, so it makes sense that he would translate to a bigger figure. In the toy line. So wow, the character, the face model, the head sculpt is excellent, as you would expect. Even though it was he was completely CG'd, you can definitely see it was molded off of Josh Brolin. It looks like Josh Brolin, even in the head sculpt that Hot Toys has done here. I will say the one thing I'm also kind of, my initial thoughts are, he is not clean. Like, I know they're coming out with a battle damaged Thanos figure, but this guy is not like, this is not like pristine armor. I mean, look at that weathering on the shoulder pieces, and then on the gauntlets on the side, and the back, even down here on the leg. I mean, this guy has been through some battles. Like, I'm not sure, I know the battle damage, I'm sure there'll be chinks in the armor. I think it comes with like a bloodied head sculpt and stuff, so I'm sure that it will be more battle damage, but they should have maybe called the first one battle damaged and the second one even more battle damaged. But the armor is very impressive. I love everything about this. The head, has good rotation there, even, with the high neck collar on it. The nice thing about Thanos is he doesn't have hair. So you're not worried about hair getting caught up in the back here. Now, maybe with this helmet on, that will cause some issues, but right now it doesn't. Oh, he's got ratcheted arms. Okay, so his arm comes up to there. When you do have his arm all the way up, You'll notice you can see the joint there at the bottom. But again, when he's like this, you're never going to see, when he's standing up, if you ever bring his arm out that far, I don't think you'll ever see it head on. You have to kind of almost be underneath the figure to really see that part of it. So the hand goes down there. Let's see, I'm trying to get his elbow to come up. Ratcheted elbow. It looks like it's fighting me a little bit. I'm sure it's because of the seamless body there. It does fight me a little bit, but that's nice that it will ratchet up for you. Give me a little different pose there. The legs don't feel ratcheted, but they do feel nice and tight. So, oh, they are ratcheted out to the side. He's got a fabric mesh bodysuit on underneath his armor. So if you're wondering what they used underneath, it is a, well, that's going to show up. There we go. That fabric kind of mesh, just fabric bodysuit under there. The knees, they don't feel ratcheted. They don't sound ratcheted, I should say. I know it sounds like it's popping, but it doesn't have that click the way that the arms, the shoulders do. So I don't know that those are, if they are, it's a quieter ratchet, I guess. His toes are articulated. His feet they can go side to side, go up and down. So that's cool. Lots of flexibility there. The joints feel nice and tight, I'll tell you that. So, you know, it feels like something that you can put into a figure and be pretty assured that it's not going to fall over on you. Just looking at the overall details, you know, I'm not the kind of person who watches the movies and looks at all the different details of the armor pieces and the suits and the outfit. I'm so engrossed with the story itself. I'm sure I miss things. But this is a great set of armor here. He's got, you'll see even down on the legs here, he's got little straps that connect the top pieces and the bottom pieces of armor. I'm curious what's underneath, like how high. I don't know if you guys can see this, but you can see, let me get his arm moved back a little bit. You can see where the fabric suit is underneath here, but then you can see on his torso up here, it's clearly just the Thanos body there. So I'm curious how far up the fabric part of it goes and where it stops and the Thanos just plastic body begins. It doesn't look like there's an easy way to remove this, so I'm not going to actually go through the process of trying to take this off. But it does look like he has a sculpted body under there, so I'm curious if you could even like remove this piece and have a shirtless Thanos in your collection if you wanted to. But there's no seams or connections for this piece. It looks like it's molded together right there. I'm not sure how they would have molded it onto the figure, but it looks like maybe they did. I don't see any buckles or anything to be able to remove that piece. So, and I'm not really sure why you would want to, other than just curiosity. See how he stands. He stands well. I didn't really even have to adjust him at all. He has, out of the box, he had a little bit of a lean to one side, but that corrects pretty easily there. I left his legs kind of off kilter there. So, yeah, he stands nice and well. That's great. Because I actually have stopped using the bases that come with the Hot Toys just because they take up so much space. I like the bases. I think aesthetically they're a great look for the figures to stand on. I love having the nameplates with them. I just have not been able to use them and maximize my space in my displays. So space when you're talking about 6 scale figures always becomes an issue. So I currently am not using him. His helmet fits perfectly. You look at his face with his helmet on. Even the helmet has the nice paint app, nice battle damage weathering effects on it. Really cool. You do see a little bit of the, there's a little bit of the head seam there on the back, but again, that's a minimal thing that you will never notice from the front. You can get him into even side poses, and it's still going to be very minimal, the amount of that seam that you're ever able to pick up. So yeah, all in all, I'm really happy with this figure. I think he looks great so far. Let's see what else we're going to try. Let's look at his other head sculpt here. His angry Thanos, as if Thanos was never not angry. I'm not sure what this is. There's a... maybe that's a magnet to help keep it attached? You think he has a head post and then also a magnet maybe to keep his jawline down because his jaw is so extended. I don't know if that's there to help that or not, but there's the angry Thanos head sculpt. Looks great. Those teeth are gritted nice, and those teeth are gritted pretty hard there. And let's see if we can get the light. The light, that's one of the things. I was actually just talking with a buddy of mine, Rob Bifo. You can go check out his channel. But we were talking about a third-party head sculpt that he had purchased for Justice League Superman figure he has. And the one thing I'll say is the head sculpt itself was excellent. And I told this to him, like, I think it's an improvement on the Hot Toys ones to a certain degree. But the one thing Hot Toys does that other head sculpts I haven't seen figure out yet is they get the gloss on the eyes just about perfect. It just gives it that little lifelike effect. The gloss, the glare that comes off of light when you look at the eyes of these characters is just phenomenal. And look, you got the wrinkle lines on the back. He's obviously been around for a long time. He's developed wrinkle lines on, he's got this stress lines on the forehead. Maybe some scarring down the side of his face from some of the battles he's been in. So yeah, just an excellent job on the head sculpts. So I really like that one. What else do we have? We've got, I'll go through the hands just real quick. I don't think you guys need to see all of them, but you've got a grasping hand there. You've got an open hand right there, and you've got even on the hands, on the, I don't even know what this is called. These aren't gloves, but the braces that come down over the fingers, even there you've got nice weathering effects on them. The fingers, you don't have any real definition of the fingernails. I'm colorblind, so if I'm wrong about this, you can correct me down in the comments below, but you don't really have any color differentiation. But you definitely have definition of where the fingernails are, and you've got the, even the wrinkle lines on the knuckles and stuff. Just little details that Hot Toys does so well. And then you've got finally the wide open hands, the completely open hands, and you've got the same weathering on those as well. So standard, excellent job hands by Hot Toys. And then you've got two Infinity Gauntlets. So you've got this one, which is, it looks to be, this is the articulated finger gauntlet. So you can actually move the thumb piece. So there we go. There's, actually it would be this one, wouldn't it? Here we go. Can you get, you can't actually get it all the way down. You can't get quite the full snap effect, but I guess it's like that, isn't it? You got to put all the fingers down. Well, you can't get a snap effect out of it. That's unfortunate. Unless he snapped like this, which then you can get. But I don't think people snap like that, right? He snapped like this, right? I don't know. I'll have to go back and check. That's like I said. I'm so engrossed in the stories and when I'm watching the movies, I end up missing stuff like that. I don't pick up on stuff like that, so I'll have to go back. The thumb does move side to side, so I gotta think that maybe that was intentional to try and get it into that snap position, but I couldn't quite do it. I'll have to maybe look at the instruction booklets. But there's you see the nice reflection off all the infinity gems in the gauntlets. They look great. Of course, the gauntlet is completed, so he's about to snap for the second time, or so he thinks. And then I'm assuming that this is the lighted gauntlet. I don't know how this part appears to come off. You've got this plastic in here, so I'm assuming that this plastic comes off to get it in here. And now I'm guessing that this part is the part that houses the battery for the light to light the infinity gems. So let me take a minute. I'll try and get that turned on and see if we can't see how that looks. And actually, while I do that, I'm looking for the instruction book. So we'll go ahead and pop this tray out here real quick and just see what's in the very bottom tray. It looks to be just the base for the character. And it is. You've got the crotch grabber stand, and you've got his base here. There is nothing else in any of these other compartments. So, sorry, that was out of the picture there, but you've got the base, the crotch grabber, and then there is nothing in these other compartments there, just to provide space for the figure as he sits in the case. Okay, just a couple things that happened while I was kind of trying to get the figure set up to get the final part of this review or look at it done. The first thing is the gauntlet. In order to get the batteries in it, you have to remove, there's a plate. This plate sits on the gauntlet, and then you lift it up and you've got your little battery compartment right there, and you need a super tiny screwdriver to go in there and remove that screw, lift that out, and get the batteries in it. Now, with my War Machine figure, it came with a super tiny screwdriver that I was able to use to get the compartments off and get the batteries put in. Thanos, it appears, does not come with one. So I'm going to have to track down my War Machine one, I guess, in order to get that out and get that screwed in. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do that for this review because I just don't have the time right now to look for where I stuck that screwdriver. But that's the first thing, is you'll need to have a screwdriver that you're able to get that open with if you want to use the light up functionality of it. The other part is this piece right here, it's just got these posts that stick into the slots on the gauntlet, so there's no latches or levers or anything you need to move. It just sits right on there like that. So that's the first part. The second part is I was removing the protective plastic on the different parts of the figure at the bottom here, and when I got to that foot, I pulled it off, and this entire insert here in the foot came out with it. And there's I don't know if the light, there it is. There's a little tiny screw down in there, and it was like the screw hadn't been actually screwed down. It was just sitting loose in there. So this entire bracket actually came out with it. So I was able to find, excuse me, I was able to find a screwdriver that'll fit in there to secure this piece back down in there. So that shouldn't be an issue again, but just something to be aware of when you're going to remove your figure for the first time. If that post does come out, look and make sure that screw is screwed down in there. All right, guys, I'm back. So usually I can't say enough good things about Hot Toys and the figures. This particular one, I think he looks phenomenal. The details and the paint apps are up to the high standard. The head sculpt is up to the high standard you expect from Hot Toys. Unfortunately, there are a couple issues with the figure. The first one is I wanted to put his blade in his hand, and in order to do so, you have to pry his fingers apart. They don't come apart real easily. They don't want to come apart at all, really. You have to really pry them in there and kind of work the blade down into there. But when I did so, it ended up rubbing some of the paint off of this portion of the figure's hand. So that's the first thing. He's got now a mark on his finger. Now, of course, while he's holding the blade like this, you can't see it. It's not a huge deal, but it's still annoying that they couldn't make a figure or find a way to get that blade in that hand without you having to pry it in there so hard that it rubs paint off. The second issue is the foot. This foot piece, of course, it's not going to do it right now, is just so loosely on here. It's fallen off 6 or 7 times already on me. There, you can see it just doesn't want to stay on. I thought that this screw that was in here just needed to be tightened, but it appears what happened is when I went to remove this leg, I held it here on the calf muscle, and then I held it on the shoe, and I just pulled just to release that ball joint. And it appears when I did so, it stripped this screw out of, let's see if we can get a shot, really get the light on it just right. There's the little hole down there. It appears it stripped that screw out. It appears it stripped that screw out, and now the foot just won't, that piece won't set in the foot the way it's supposed to. And there you go, it just falls off. Now, once it's on there and the figure's standing, it doesn't appear to have an impact on the figure that way. But it's just really annoying that that's yet something else that has gone wrong with the figure. So I'm probably going to contact Sideshow. I had a Catwoman figure from the Dark Knight series that I had an issue with years ago, and they were actually able to just send me out replacement parts for it. I'm hoping they can send me a replacement foot and maybe a replacement hand. We'll see. I really don't want to go through the process of sending the whole figure back. I did that with a Captain America figure, and I'm pretty sure I ended up getting one back that had been previously opened because he has some little imperfections I wasn't expecting. I prefer, since I paid for a new figure, to get a new figure. So anyway, that's going to color kind of my enthusiasm about this figure. All in all, I like the figure. It looks great. I think it's going to look great in the display case. Just really disappointed in those two things. So we'll go do a wrap up here real quick and we'll finish things up. So hopefully Hot Toys can correct those issues for me, and that'll make me not so, I don't know, unenthused about the figure maybe. I'm really curious, does anybody else out there have this figure? Do you have this issue with the foot joint there, the ball joint on the foot, or with getting the blade into the hand? I'm going to have to go maybe check out some YouTube videos. If you had those issues with this figure, I'm love it if you could leave a comment below. Let me know how you got it resolved. If you did reach out to Sideshow, if they were receptive to it and were able to provide you with some replacement parts for that. Alright guys, so this is the wrap up for Hot Toys Endgame Thanos. This is the first edition of Thanos that was released, not the battle damage one that we're kind of still waiting for Hot Toys to drop, which hopefully will be coming out in the next, weeks, if not months here soon. As far as this figure goes, I love it. I think it's great. I mean, I feel like a broken record when I talk about Hot Toys because I've yet to encounter a Hot Toy where I've been like, that's trash, or no, I don't want that. For the most part, I think they're all great. This was one of the first ones that I felt like the quality wasn't quite there on it where you would expect it to be for Hot Toys. But it still looks great. And these aren't figures that you play with. You pose them. You can do some fun like photo shoots with them, get them in some cool poses, and take really awesome pics with them. And they look great on the shelf, in your display cases. And I think that's, at least for me, that's why I get these. You can't constantly have in-game running in the background of your house as much as you may love it, and you have other stuff that you're doing. But every time I walk past my display case and I see the figures from these various films and TV shows and whatnot, in that case, it takes me back just for that split second to that moment in time or that show that I've loved so much. And even if it's just for that split second, it's like, yeah, that's awesome. Like, I love being able to have these collectibles in my display cases. So as far as Thanos goes, he looks incredible. The head sculpt is a dead ringer for Josh Brolin, especially with the way he looked as Thanos in Endgame. The armor is, you know, awesome as well. Like there's a bunch of details that I'm sure were in the movie itself, but as I mentioned, like I'm so wrapped up in the story while I'm watching the movie, I don't take time to appreciate all the finite little details and things that they add to the suits of armor, all the nicks and stuff from previous battles. The blood splatters on the sword is just like the dried blood is like that's an amazing detail that of course it would be there. Like if you sit down and start picking apart the movie like scene by scene and you're like, well wait a minute, what about this weapon, you know, what he's used this before, so it would be stained, right? And like the idea that they actually put that much thought into it, not only for the movie but then when they translated it to the figure, is just, to me, that's astounding. Like I'm super impressed with that level of detail. um, as far as the drawbacks, like, you know, yeah, this figure, quality wise, you know, just removing the ankle joint to remove the protective plastic piece, you wouldn't expect to strip a screw out and have the entire, you know, mechanism that holds that ankle in place fall out. So that was a little disappointing. Just trying to add an accessory, you know, you wouldn't expect to get paint rub off of something like that. I could see if you dropped the figure or if you were actually playing with the figure, you know, you went to punch another figure with it and there's some force in there. But when you're just working an accessory into the hand, you would think that that would hold up a little better than it actually did in this case. You know, it could also just be like this particular figure, my particular one itself. There may be other Thanos in-game figures out there that didn't have these issues. And I'm sure there are. If there were this many, if everybody had these issues, you would have seen a lot more, I guess blowback is the right word, online about it. So all in all, it's a great figure. It does exactly what I expect a Hot Toys figure to do, and that's look fantastic on my display shelf. So thank you guys so much for your support and tuning in today. I know how valuable your time is. Time is that one commodity you just never can have enough of. And so for you to spend it, you know, hanging out with me and, you know, watching my videos, I really appreciate that. I hope that you get something out of it. I hope either, you know, if you're making a decision about buying a figure, that this in some way helps you make that decision so you're more comfortable with it, or if you know you have some of the same issues I've had, and then maybe this will show you like the way I solve them or the way I address them, and maybe that helps in some way. If there's anything you guys want to see me try and do on the channel, different types of reviews, different types of segments, I'd love your feedback. Please drop comments in the comment section below. You can reach out to me on any of the social media platforms, just at Fixing Fandom. And thank you so much again for your time. Take care. Hey, what's up, everybody? So I wanted to give an update on my Thanos video, and normally you'd see me flaunting my extensive collection of t-shirts, but I came from a work thing today and just wanted to hop on and get a few things recorded, and so we're going with the semi-casual work look, I guess, for today. Anyway, I was, you know, in my Thanos video, you know, I really liked the figure and I was going through and talking about all the positives, and then I ran into some issues, and those being, you know, the issue with the, I think it was the left foot where the screw that held the joint in place that fits into the ball joint for the ankle, that screw had been stripped out, and so that bracket that fits down in the actual foot kept stripping out, and there was no way to secure it in place. So anytime you pick the figure up, that foot would just come off, and it kind of was compromising the integrity of the figure and how well it could stand. And then the other issue I had was there was an issue where I tried to put the Thanos' sword into his hand. The hand is so tight, the gripping hand is so tight that you really have to, you know, work it. You have to warm it up. You have to really work it to get that sword into that hand. And when I did so, I ended up rubbing some of the paint off one of the fingers on the figure. So I reached out to Sideshow, and these figures I've actually had for a few months now. My intention was always to do unboxings and get my reviews posted and then put them in their kind of permanent display area. So I hadn't even gotten the figure out and messed with it before, and I've had it a few months. I reached out to Sideshow and let them know what the issues were with it. And as most people that have to deal with Sideshow know, their customer service is amazing. Like, I know I was down on the figure because of the issues, but I will tell you that if you contact Sideshow with an issue that you have with your figure, like, I would guarantee, I wouldn't say guarantee, but I would guess 9 times out of 10, you're going to have a positive experience. You're going to have a good outcome. And then for Thanos just now, I contacted them and they reached back out and they said, normally we have a 30-day, kind of window that you can let us know about issues. And then this figure it's been about 3 months since you got it. And they said, but we will make an exception this time and, get you out the new parts that you needed. And they sent them out. They were here within like 3 days, and everything's great. The figure is in perfect shape again. So just kudos to Sideshow for customer service. I know the hotness right now is like getting figures overseas, getting them delivered, getting like wave one, wave two sets of figures just so you can have them early. And I totally understand the benefit of doing that. Like my wait for my in-game Captain America was killer. Like I hated how long I had to wait on that. But the trade-off for that is, what you lose in customer service. If I have an issue with my in-game cap, I can't necessarily reach out to the company I bought it from and expect them to turn around and take care of the issues that quickly. Sideshow does. Sideshow, seems to always be on the consumer side and does what they can to try and make situations right. So just wanted to give a kudos to Sideshow for how it was handled and let everybody know that, I love the figure with those issues I had taken care of. I'm now like ecstatic about it and like super happy I have the figure. So that was all just an update. I'm going to move on and try and get a few more openings and reviews done tonight. So you may see a repeat of this outfit, but we'll see you soon. Take care.